Hello, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, my fellow citizens, and my customers and prospective customers. This is Daryl Guberman. I'm the CEO of GUBERMAN-PMC, LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. I have assisted companies in manufacturing quality and also special processes and also quality certification and all ISO derivatives. Business owners and my fellow citizens, I have something to tell you. This video today, I'm going to try to make it brief. I can go in with a copious amount of information. A lot of it will be down in the description of this video, but we have so much information. If you want any type of information, whether it's aerospace, automotive failures, aerospace failures, medical failures, laboratory failures, and electronics failures, drop me a note and we'll show you all of them, because they're all under the banner of ANSI, ANAP, or an IAF MLA, which is an International Accreditation Forum multilateral agreement organization. I've showed you before a lot of information in videos concerning the mission statement of ANSI, said to me in a phone audio file. Half a nut fuck you was done by Mr. Russ Cheney. Here he is. Let me just pull him over. Russ Cheney. How do we know it was him? Well, I took a snapshot of my telephone, and it was July 26, 2019. The reason why we harp on this is because in 2022 June, they had open enrollment for Director at Large on ANSI's board. I put my name in. I had a 54-page document. I've said that on other videos, plenty of them, about 43 other videos concerning, okay, those 43 videos are concerning not the members that sit on the board of ANSI or their employees, but it's the CEOs of those personnel that sit on the board, because I don't think they know. I don't think they know that the mission statement that they're involved with is not quality anymore. It's been bastardized over time by Russ Cheney since 2019. So we put in this 54-page document. We felt that there is no representation for the small mom and pop shop on ANSI. They only like the big ticket items, you know, the Lockheeds, the Boeings, and it leaves the small mom and pop shop out in the dust. The ones who are the meat and potatoes of those organizations that sit on ANSI's board, the big OEMs, the big companies, that these smaller companies supply the fruits, nuts, and flakes and everything to these companies, yet they are a forgotten bunch. And I have to tell you this. It is absolutely ridiculous. I put it in. I answered 9 questions that gave me, that ANSI wanted to know what Daryl Guberman can do for them. Well, I can do a lot. The first thing that I wanted to do was get rid of Russ Cheney's half a nut fuck you. I think that's very important. I think that's an integral part that you have to, as a member of the board, get rid of that. Because right now you have 43, 44, 45 members that are sitting on that board that are representing corporations like Apple, Oracle. They're representing federal agencies like NIST and Department of Homeland Security. At one time, ANSI, ANAB, and they still sit on the International Accreditation Forum incorporated in Delaware. There was a communist Chinese national that was handed over leadership of that from 2015 to 2021. And not only that, that guy was the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which certified the laboratory in Wuhan, China. And people say, Wuhan, China? Yes. And without a doubt, there's a Miss Pamela Sale. At the time, she went under deposition. She was the vice president of accreditation for laboratory for ASCLD lab, ANSI, but ANAB, because ANSI had taken over control over ANAB, and it's basically ANAB owned ASCLD lab. Now it's ANSI ANAB owning ASCLD lab, and also A2LA sat on ANSI's board, right over by sheriff's departments using forensic laboratories. Also the Department of Forensic Science, which in 2015 their ANAB cert got taken away, or because of glaring quality issues. I do this because of integrity, honesty, and the truth. What I discovered about ANSI is that this is a subliminal message that Russ Cheney gave. By Russ Cheney saying half a nut, fuck you, What that means is that the quality that's dispensed by the certificates that they issue aren't good. And you can see that and see it glaringly in the rejections throughout our industries, through the recalls in automotive, through the failures in aerospace, as I said, and electronics and laboratory. Failures because this is actually the quality that they dispense. And people say to me, Daryl, aren't you scared? Aren't you frightened? Federal state, aren't you frightened of the court? I say, whoa, 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 whoa. I've learned lessons. Being involved for 3 years from one of ANSI ANAB shills, without a doubt in my mind, without a doubt. We have a letter from one of the leaders of, at the time, of ANSI ANAB, and he stated that I know him best. He's a force to be reckoned with. This guy, a joker. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to even touch this because it's over. It's done. He'll probably come up with some other Bubba Misa, which means lie, because he did lie to the court. Let's get back to this business. I don't need to tell you about the court, but I will tell you this. We received a letter from an attorney about 3 years ago who had 40 years experience in the court. And this is what he said to me. Daryl, I think very carefully before I say or do anything in the legal arena, not only because I represent other people and can make them look bad, but because I'm a professional who understands how the world really works. Nearly everything you see when litigating any federal court, state, is an illusion. In the political arena or world, we call it blue smoke and mirrors. Well, let me just say this. The Cambridge Dictionary states blue smoke and mirrors. Actually, yes, the Cambridge Dictionary says blue smoke and mirrors is something that is intended to make you believe that something is being done or is true when it is not. And remember this, the judge is the CEO of the court. The plaintiff's attorney and the defendant's attorney are his employees, both of them. So when one attorney says, oh, we have to put a stay in, we have to postpone, we have to do this, you go ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Isn't that a tender? I don't mind anybody making money, but that sounds like prostitution to me. Actually, stay, stop, do. Here's a motion. The judge looks, takes about 3 weeks, a month. Okay, keep on going. Now, Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition of what goes on in court is this. Blue smoke and mirrors is something that is intended to disguise or draw attention away from an often embarrassing or unpleasant issue. And another thing, business owners and my fellow citizens, my customers and my prospective customers, the American Bar Association and the American National Standards Institute do a lot of dealing together. So I have that information. Come as you may. I will say that now. Come as you may. I will split this piñata open as I did with 43 of the CEOs and secretaries of the government who have employees on board with titles like this. Let me give you some titles here. We have Phil Matheson from the Department of Homeland Security, who at the time was being controlled and manipulated by communist China. We have that. Okay, and by the way, every one of those federal agencies that sit on ANSI's board have gotten their data taken by China. Phil Matheson, his title is Executive Director of the Office of Standards, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. This is where ANSI ANAB goes into the government. And the worst thing is, as you see on government contracts, especially when China, 2015 to 21, I've got contracts that say must be ANSI, ANAB, and IAF. So they invited China in. They invited China into their facility by doing that. Okay? And the government has no clue, I guess. You have the DOD that sits on ANSI. You have the DOJ that sits on ANSI. You have all these government agencies, FTC, NIH, CDC, USDA, FDA, FAA, as I said. And they all sit on ANSI getting their data taken. And the worst thing, too, is the gentleman who is a communist national, Zhao Jinwu, has been involved with our quality since 1994. He is the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which is equivalent to accreditation of ANAP. And he was standing in Wuhan, China, issuing an ISO 17025 certification, while on this side of the world, Pamela Sale, the vice president of ASCLD Lab, which is owned by ANAP, now it's ANSI ANAP owns ASCLD, and also A2LA were sitting on the board of the same organizations that they certify. The reason why we do this, let me just read you another one. By the way, Phil Masterson, on top of his federal salary, was at the time making $262,800, was that 800? Yeah, $814. Nice, isn't that nice? And at the time when we found it, it was called a royalty payment, which is kind of a non-taxable. The IRS doesn't know how to put their fingers around it, believe that one or not. Isn't that a conundrum? You'll also find the Securities and Exchange Commission sitting on ANSI too. Isn't that nice? You also have Gordon Gilliman at the time is making $120,361. And listen to his verbiage. His is this. His is Director of Standards Coordination Office at the National Institute of Standards and Technology that sits on ANSI. NIST comes out with the SP800 for cybersecurity. In 2013, the National Vulnerability Database run by the Department of Commerce, NIST, gets hacked. And they're pushing this NIST SP800 and they can't keep their shit together on a website. Unbelievable. Continuing on. NIST has the NIST MEPs, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. The only thing they extend is into your wallet because they take both state and federal funding, where 64.85% of those monies go into their pocket. Then it's dispersed amongst the states. No wonder why we have issues in manufacturing. It's because you have organizations like NIST MEP, which are 50 strong throughout the United States, and they sit on ANSI. And the Department of Commerce got hacked. China. So, why do I do this? I do this because for 11 years we've been getting the arrows thrown at us of impropriety from them, from their henchmen, we call it, so that you really can't trace it back to these people. It's almost like the mob. It's unbelievable. Quality is not quality. They hide behind words like voluntary consensus standards, robust, transparency, integrity, which there is none, not in this organization here. So I'm going to say this. This video today is about federal agencies sitting on nonprofit boards like ANSI, members of management, which they changed, are a national disgrace. Look at them. Getting money on, Phil Masterson, Gordon Gilliman, Phil Masterson from Department of Homeland Security, Gordon Gilliman from NIST, which is part of the Department of Commerce, who sits on ANSI. Okay, they're getting money on top of their federal salary. Isn't that tender? So, I will say this too. It is fundamentally wrong to have any federal, state, or even county or local employees sitting on the boards of nonprofits. Now, I wonder how many senators, congressmen, state officials are on the nonprofit gravy trains. Well, I'll tell you right now. Lockheed Martin has the disbursements list for Lockheed. They have monies that go to all 50 states, Democrats and Republicans. So if you think you're a Democrat, I'm better than a Republican, and the Republicans say, I'm better than a Democrat. No, they're both the same. We say they're schmutz. I have to tell you the fact. So let me just tell you a little story, and then I'm going to let you go, because I think I've talked enough. I've gone off on a lot of tangents, because there's a lot that I have, a lot of documentation I've showed you and throughout the videos. Go to my YouTube channel, go to YouTube, go Daryl Guberman, and you'll see at least 100 plus videos. At one time we had 3,036. We took them down, and then we decided, you know something? Our quality professionals out there who are in the trenches, because at these ASQ meetings, which I've been at and I've talked at in 2013, there's never anybody of importance there. The decision makers, they're out playing golf. They're out swinging their golf club, drinking a martini after smoking a cigar. The vice presidents, I have never seen one in so many years that I was on ASQ, okay? Unbelievable. And by the way, the ASQ in 2013 owned 50% of ANAB, the American National Crediting Board, while ANSI, the American National Standard Institute, owned 50% of the American National Crediting Board as well in 2013. It's a very incestuous relationship here. And when Russ Cheney said half a nut fuck you to me on the telephone, you say, wow. And he did. I'm not bullshitting about that. By the way, bullshit in this category, it means quality in the trash. Or I'll give you another for instance. When he said half a nut fuck you, when you're crashing in a plane, God forbid, and you're going down and you're saying we're fucked, that means the quality of the aircraft and its components, probably fudge documentation on top of it, failed. If you have a turbulent flight and you land and you say that was fucking great, that means the quality, the plane held together, the pilot was good, and you lived. So we go back. So you have the ASQ. You have ANSI. You have ANAB. And all of these federal agencies that sit on those organizations, on ANSI, have gotten their data taken. As a matter of fact, again, on November 15, 2022, Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, stated to a congressional hearing or senatorial hearing, he said that China, again, he says that I think he uses the same script, and every time they inquisition him, he said, China is a detriment to the United States of America, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something, Chris. Listen to me. The FBI was watched over by the Communist Chinese CCP from 2015 to 2021. The reason being is that the FBI, like the DOJ and the DOT and the FDA and the FAA and so many others that sit on ANSI, because they sit on ANSI and ANSI and ANAB both sat on the IF, you had infiltration. Because the Chinese Communist National is mandated by his country of origin, Mr. Ray, Christopher, whatever your name is, to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. Look that up. Call me if you'd like, because I have more information than the FBI does. I think they've turned into a bogus organization. So has all the federal agencies that were set up to protect America. Now everybody is delving into cash, and that's all they freaking care about. But going back, by the way, to NIST MEP, NIST MEP is the biggest fraud in American history. I've got the data. I've got a letter from one of their employees that says, you know, we used to say in the office when we were here, because I'm a not-for-profit, we deal with other not-for-profits, and we used to call it money laundering. I don't make that up. So I'm going to leave it here. I think I have spoken up. I think I've gone on to a lot of tangents. And you're probably saying, boy, this guy is wild. It's not that I'm wild. It's not that I have so much information. It's like I'm trying to grab a hold of you and shake you while you throw your balls in the air rather than have them down in your pants. I just don't get it. But I will say this. From me to you, ladies and gentlemen, who don't listen. When speaking the truth, it is many times like administering medication to the dead. That was Thomas Paine. And here's dear old Winnie the Pooh, A.A. Milne. It is easier to believe a lie that one has heard 1,000 times than to believe a fact no one has heard before. Give me a call, 203-556-1493, or Daryl, TQRS@yahoo.com. You can call all your registrars you want. You will never get to the person you want to talk to because you will probably end up getting a voicemail. I was in industry. I know how I dealt with the ANSI ANAB accredited registrars. I'll talk to you soon.